Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Yeah.
Good,
that was nice. What about you, Saleh? You want to try? Alright. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. Amma ba'd. Saleh's a bit tired today. Lesson number 19. The last lesson that we looked at, what happened? His uncle passed away. Then 3 days later, his wife passed away. Now 6 months later, radiallahu anha, that was ages ago, Muhammad, keep up. This is now in the 10th year of prophethood. He's a prophet now for 10 years. Okay? Listen to me. His granddad passed away even before he was a prophet.
No, 13 years.
Yeah, even before he was a prophet. His granddad passed away even before he was a prophet. Now, this is 10 years into him being a prophet. Lesson number 19. The Prophet ﷺ, 6 months after his uncle passes away and his wife passes away, he goes to Taif. Why do you think he's going? What do you want to say, Sonny?
Because in the boy guy lasted 3 years. So then at 10 more, at 3 years to 10, then it's 13 years.
Okay, that's great. Right. Now, he wants to go out to Taif. Why does he want to go out to Taif?
To make people Muslim.
Yes, but also there's another reason. His uncle has just passed away. If his uncle has passed away, what's going to happen to him in Makkah?
He's going to get bullied.
Yes, exactly. He needs someone to protect him. So he goes to Taif, which is this way.
Why can't Hamza
He goes because Hamza is a Muslim. That's a good question. That's a very good question.
Why can't Hamza do it?
Why can't Hamza do it? Why can't Umar do it? Because they're Muslim and it doesn't count. They said we're not going to recognize the protection of a person who's already Muslim. We will only give protection to people who are non-Muslim. As in, we will accept protection for you, Muhammad, from people who are non-Muslim, not people who are already Muslim. So now he needs to go to Taif to seek protection from people so that he can stay there. Either he can stay there, or if they're not going to accept Islam, then at least they can give him protection. At least. So now he goes from Makkah. You need to go over there. He needs to go from Makkah to Taif. And Taif, Pat, you need to go. Makkah to Taif, and he wants to get protection. Now, the other thing with Taif is, he's actually got family members in Taif. And those family members, he thought, yeah, you know, if I go there, my family members will protect me, yeah. Just like Abu Talib did. What's the problem with that? Right, so now he goes over. And there's 3 main people in charge of Taif. One of them says,
Who are you?
Who are you? I don't know who you are. You can't be a prophet. The other person says, you're too good for me to speak to. I can't speak. He's taking the mick out of it. You're too good for me to speak to. If you really are a prophet, then I can't speak to you because you're too religious, you're too pious. And if you're not really a prophet, then you're a liar and I don't want to speak to you. And the other one started taking the mick out of him. All of them, they started taking the mick out of him. Meaning, they didn't want anything to do with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They didn't even want to listen to Islam. But, instead of saying no, they were being rude and they were bullying him as well. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to them in return, okay, look, let me just stay in Taif because I can't go back to Makkah right now because my uncle's passed away. And if I go back now, there's going to be a problem. Can I at least just stay in your city for a little while? They said, yeah, okay, we'll let you stay. Now, when he stayed in the city, guess what happened? Everybody is saying bad things about the Prophet ﷺ. Until he stayed there. Well, they're not really his close family members. They're his like long, far away cousins. Now, what happens is that after he stayed there for about 2 weeks, one person comes with the idea, let's get rid of this guy. Let's start hitting him. So what happens? All of Taif come out with sticks and stones and anything they could find, and they start throwing it on Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he went with his son, he went with his son. You know what his son's name was? Zayd. At that time, the Prophet ﷺ had a son called Zayd. Now, the story of Zayd is a bit it's not connected to our story right now. But the story of Zayd is like this. When the Prophet ﷺ was married to Khadija a very long time ago, there was a young boy who had no family. So they adopted him. And at that time, the adopted child would become the son of that child, and they would call him the son. They would say his name is Zayd ibn Muhammad, as in Zayd the son of Muhammad. Now, in Islam, you can't do that. You can only call yourself after your parents' name. So if Allah forbid, if somebody adopts you tomorrow, can you call yourself, can you say that father is your new father? Can you do that? No, because I will always be your father. Do you understand? But they called him Zayd ibn Muhammad, but at that time they could do that. But then Islam came afterwards and said, no, you can't do that. You only have one father. You can't have more than one father. Right? So now, he's gone there with his son, and the people of Ta'if start doing what to him? Bullying him, and now hitting him as well.
And saying good names, but Allah protected him from all the snow.
That's true. Allah did protect him, but he did get lots and lots of hurt. There was blood everywhere in his face, in his body, and he was bleeding so much. He didn't know where he was. He's like, oh, the Prophet ﷺ. He was like losing consciousness. And nearly.
I thought Allah was protecting him.
Allah does protect him. Allah protects us all. Allah protects the believers. But the thing is, Allah puts us through tests. Allah tests you sometimes to see if you are really a good believer or not. And the stronger the test, the stronger Allah will let you to get close towards Him. And if you pass the test, you will get a higher place in Jannah. So who's going to be tested the most in this world?
Believers.
Who from the believers? The Prophet himself. Because when he passes the test, he gets closer to Allah more than anybody else.
But all the prophets died. But
they were tested.
Abu Bakr is second.
Yeah, so Abu Bakr from this ummah was tested the most as well. But sometimes you might not be tested. Sometimes Allah just gives you a lot of good things without putting you through really, really bad tests. For some people, their way to Jannah is to get tested. And some people no. Anyway, let's go back to the story. Now, when the Prophet ﷺ is leaving Ta'if, Jibreel alayhi salam comes down. And what do you think Jibreel says? Exactly. I am here with another angel. Let's pretend that's Jibreel. And there's another angel, and he says, this angel is the angel of the mountains. And if you want, Muhammad, we can crush Ta'if by putting the mountains in together and crush them like this. What do you think the Prophet ﷺ said?
Yeah.
He said no. The Prophet ﷺ was very, very kind. Even with people who were rude to him, he was very, very kind. He always was nice to people, even if they were being really, really rude to him. So you know what he said? He said, no, I don't want you to crush them, because right now they are not Muslim, but maybe they will become Muslim in the future. Maybe their children will become Muslim. Was it true that they become Muslim?
Yeah.
Right now, Ta'if is close to Mecca, and all of these people are Muslim.
Because they love how the Mecca looked.
Yeah, because they ended up believing in La ilaha illallah. So now the Prophet ﷺ is walking back to Mecca, and he's got no one that's going to protect him in Ta'if. And what's he going to do when he gets back into Mecca? Now, whilst he's...
Get bullied?
Yeah, exactly. But he's going to get bullied, but now he needs to find some kind of a protection plan, isn't it? Now, on his way home, the Prophet ﷺ continued to pray salah, he continued to making dua, and he continued to recite the Quran. And guess what happened? On his way home, he stayed somewhere he didn't go straight back to Mecca. He stayed in another place for a little while, and he was going back to Mecca slowly. And guess what happened? One night when he's reciting the Quran and he's making dua and everything, loads of jinn came and they started listening to the Quran of the Prophet ﷺ. And guess what? All of them became Muslim. So now,
So
even
at
though
that
Ta'if,
time,
yeah,
all of them were non-Muslim.
at that time they were non-Muslim. But the point that we're making here is that you are saying, how come Allah didn't protect him? Allah did protect him. And Allah gave the people of Ta'if a chance, but when they rejected, Allah replaced it for the Prophet ﷺ with something better. The jinn. And they became Muslim. And now the Prophet ﷺ is happy because at least some people are becoming Muslim now.
Not people.
And guess what? When he goes back to Makkah, he stays in the Mount of Hira. And he stays there for 1 day. He stays there for 2 days. And guess what? He's waiting there and there's a person called Al-Mut'im ibn Adi. What's his name? And we said his name before. I'm sure we've said his name before. I don't know if you remember. Al-Mut'im. Mut'im comes past the Prophet and goes, what are you doing here? Why are you hiding in the mountain?
Why does Adi
That's his name.
in everybody's names?
No, not everybody's name's Adi. His name is Mut'im ibn Adi. Now, Mut'im says to the Prophet ﷺ, why are you guys hiding here for? And the Prophet ﷺ tells him, look, I can't go to Makkah. I'm hiding in the mountain because if I go into Makkah, they're going to hit me. Mut'im said, no, come out. He was a non-Muslim at that time. And he said, I will give you protection. So he took the Prophet ﷺ to the Kaaba and he said, I have given Muhammad protection. And he hasn't got Abu Talib anymore, but he's going to have protection from me. That's very good. So now look what's happened. The Prophet ﷺ lost his uncle. He's lost his wife, Khadija. And he's got people in Ta'if who rejected him. But not only rejected him, he really hit him really badly. But guess what happened? What did Allah give to him in return?
Jinns.
Allah gave him people who became Muslim from the jinns. Allah gave him a new protection in Mut'im. And what we're going to see in tomorrow's lesson, we're going to see examples of so many different people who are now becoming Muslim. And the Prophet ﷺ is seeing the help of Allah now. Allah is actually helping him and he is seeing that. And one of the biggest things that happens is the night of Isra and Mi'raj. Do you remember what that was?
I think so.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that anyway. Okay, may Allah give us Iman. May Allah give us Tawfiq. May Allah help us to understand the Seerah.
Ameen.
And Allah give us a good Seerah in our lives as well.
Ameen.
هذا والله أعلم وصلى اللهم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Hey, it's Salih's turn. It's Salih's.
I think I did.
You did it in the beginning.